Hi everyone, how you doing? This video is about the 5 mistakes that most beginner photographers make, right? And I'm here to help you on your journey to becoming a photographer so that you don't make these mistakes and so that your journey starts off on a great footing. So these are the 5 things to avoid as a beginner photographer. Number 1, blaming it on the equipment. Guys, I don't understand why a whole lot of you guys blame it on the equipment. The outcomes that you have in your photography, you blame it on the equipment. And you start saying, if only I had this kind of equipment, if only I had this kind of equipment. Guys, I want to let you know that a stove doesn't cook a great meal, but a chef cooks a great meal. The stove is the tool that the chef uses, but on its own it cannot cook. The chef is the one that has to be changing the temperatures, right? The chef is the one that has to pick the pan. The chef is the one that has to cook the ingredient. The chef is the one that's there to tell if everything is alright. So I want to say to you guys, why don't you master the equipment that you have? You'll notice that life will become a lot easier and you'll actually be able to move on to the next set of equipment that you want to buy. So never blame it on the equipment. Always be willing to learn so that you can improve and understand concepts within the very equipment you have, and then begin to build on it until you have an even better set of equipment. But what you have will suffice for where you are until you go up and up the ladder with more jobs and the more money you get. So the equipment is usually just an excuse for most photographers. You guys can make it with the equipment that you have, and with time it will become better and have better, right? Now that was point number 1. I want us now to move on to point number 2, not investing in a mentor. Most of you guys don't invest in a mentor. You actually think that you can go through photography alone, teach yourself everything in photography. Fair and fine, we have YouTube videos like this one, right? Fair and fine, we have Google where you can search a whole lot of things. But sometimes what you may lack is the human touch, the human element to it all, right? Because if you invest in a mentor, he's able to teach you more than just one thing in photography. He's able to teach you the business side of photography, the technical side of photography, the human relations side of photography, the choreography side of photography. Because photography is made by a lot, and even teach you how to use Adobe Lightroom, how to use Capture One, how to use Adobe Photoshop for processing your images so that you have that great and wonderful, effect at the end of the day. So guys, I just want to urge you guys, please invest in a mentor, because a mentor will greatly change your life. Instead of going through 10 years trying to figure out the same thing, you could actually take less because you're the mentor. And your career cannot wait for 10-20 years. Your career has to improve. So you need to give it your best and get the best people, into that space of actually improving your career. Let's move on to point number 3. And point number 3 is not starting with the basics. Guys, when you're getting into photography is a game of light, right? If your picture is dark, that's terrible. If your picture is too light, it's overexposed, that's terrible. But your picture should have a good exposure, or maybe say an artistic exposure. How you expose is key. And when you get onto exposure, you then now start focusing on the light triangle so that you really understand what is it that affects light. There is ISO, which is light sensitivity, a sort of digital light that the camera puts into the picture so that you can see the picture better, but makes the picture grainy depending on how much of it you use, right? And then there is shutter speed. Shutter speed is how fast the curtain clicks, and it's about motion. Are you able to freeze things and have the clarity frozen? Are you able to show the motion that something was moving from here to here, right? And then the third part of the exposure triangle is aperture. Aperture is the one that determines how blurry the background or the foreground is and brings up that artistic element. But also, with aperture, if you have a low aperture number, which means you have a high aperture, which means the iris of the camera lens is wide open, is going to let in more light. If the iris of the camera lens is more closed, that means you're going to let in lesser light. And that affects your picture. These are the basic things that you actually need to know and learn as a photographer. This is the photography, light triangle. They call it the exposure triangle in case you guys want to build it, right? And then guys, we'll move on to the next point, which is point number 4. Point number 4 is not narrowing down to your core interest. Can you imagine a situation whereby you're getting into sports photography, and at the same time you're getting into wedding photography, and at the same time you're getting into landscape photography? Those 3 kinds of photography have nothing to do with each other. They have different sets of equipment, they have different environments, they demand differently from different people. So as they demand differently, from different people, you need to understand that there's different types of equipment for them, and equipment is really expensive. So for you to try and invest into all those types of photography, you're not only investing your money and your equipment, but you are also investing your time into that kind of photography, and you're losing out because you're essentially becoming a jack of all trades and you're becoming a master of none, right? So you really need to narrow down to your core interests, focus on it, perfect it, and then you go up, things get better, you get recognition within the game, which is what really every photographer at the end of the day wants. I don't know about other photographers who are not really looking for that, but as a photographer you need to get your work out there, because you're not just shooting for yourself, but you want the world to see the great stuff that you do, and you want them to actually engage you at a commercial level, because at the end of the day, guys, photography is a business. You have to survive, but you also have to put out great and amazing work out there, So that leads me to my final point, which is point number 5. Point number 5 is most of you beginner photographers, you avoid pro bono work. Guys, I have to stress this point out. Stop avoiding pro bono work, because pro bono work is going to build you. Yes, I understand you're doing it for free, but 1, you're actually building your photography portfolio, right? Number 2, you're getting to meet people who could actually like your work and become your potential clients within the future. And so you need to consider all those things, even experience. You're getting experience in working in the real environments in which you aspire. You are actually affording yourself an opportunity, and I believe every photographer should afford themselves the opportunity to shoot within a right environment, right? Great. So I would advise you, do pro bono work. Just don't forget the legal side, where you need contracts that whenever you shoot those people, even if it was pro bono, you're actually allowed to use the content, right? And so if you can use the content, it's great for you, it's great for your portfolio, it's great for your track record. And then, guys, those are the 5 points that I wanted to give you in letting you know the mistakes that beginner photographers make, so that you as a beginner photographer, you will not make the same mistakes. Then I want to give you guys a bonus tip, right? You can call it tip number 6, I'll just call it a bonus tip. Photography is a journey and not an event. You cannot master photography in one day, just like that, right? You're going to be building up, because photography, there are different sides of photography, there are different elements in photography, and you need to master all those things in photography in order for you to be, top of the range photographer, a great photographer, a recognized photographer. You need to understand the choreography side, how to pose people. If you're, shooting people, you need to understand, the technical side of, photography. You need to understand the business side of photography. There are just so many things in photography you'll need to understand. I cannot list them all, but those things help you to become a better photographer at the end of the day. And so embrace this journey, enjoy the journey, take it bit by bit, absorb everything, understand everything, until you become that one great photographer. Guys, this is where the video ends. I want to thank you so much for watching this video. Please click to subscribe so that you see more videos like this, so that they can help you. There's a comment section down below, guys. Put a comment there if there's a particular topic you want us to look into, a particular video you want us to make for you, so that we can educate you and bring to you that great photography that will change your life and that will change your career. If you loved this video, guys, please give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, you can give it a thumbs down. And guys, thank you for supporting this channel. Thanks a lot and take care. See you in the next video. Ciao, ciao.